joining me. Have you ever had issues trying to figure out how to find a pattern, where to search for one? You've got a pile of yarn. Somebody gave you some yarn, and now you're trying to figure out what to do with it. Well, we're going to talk about that today. I actually had this question come up in my Perfectly Knotty VIP group on Facebook this morning, and I'm hoping I can walk you through some things to help you figure out what to do. Okay, so I am going to, we're going to shrink me and put me off to the side over here. I'm going to put me down here in the bottom corner, and let's take a look. You can hear we're at the Ravelry page that you come to when you first log in, and we're going to click on patterns in the upper left hand corner, and then we are going to click on the pattern browser in advanced search. All right, and I notice that every time we switch to a different screen, my little picture down there blinks out and resets. So that's just a function. So, all right, in the upper right-hand corner under your picture, that's me. I am True Suzi Q. Go ahead and if you want to follow me, you're welcome to do that. But you can see we have 929,460 patterns currently available on Ravelry at the time of recording this. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. And it's growing every single day. It's growing. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to navigate all of those patterns, okay? It can feel, it's just a huge, overwhelming number of patterns, but there are some search functions and filters that we can use to help take some of the overwhelm out, okay? So we're going to come over here to the left sidebar, and you've got a whole bunch of categories over here. All right, and there's just a ton of them. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to use them. We're going to start at up here. We're going to start with our craft. I know that in this case, she's going to want a knitting pattern. So I'm going to choose knitting. Okay, so that's 578,273. We need that to be smaller. Her category, I know she wants to make a sweater. So that's a clothing item. It is a sweater. And we're going to choose all sweaters. Okay, and we'll close that and narrow it down. The availability. This is something that I think that's wise to go through, because it's really discouraging if you click on something that's a pattern that's listed, but it's not something that's available because it's in a book, and you would have to go on Amazon or to the library or something and actually get the book because it's not available digitally. So I like to click the free button, the purchase online button, the Ravelry download button. All right, and that pretty much narrows down what you could just grab today. If you do want something that's specifically in a book, please do print the purchase in print and that kind of thing. All right, or maybe don't even filter that at all. All right, has a photo? Yes. If it doesn't have a photo, I'm not doing it. I don't want you to do it. Don't do mystery projects. Oh my goodness. Okay, so, and you know what? And I will also take a moment and say here, I don't know why this is, but this column of filters on the left-hand side of your search screen, I have noticed they're not in the same order for everybody. I don't know why that is. I haven't, and it looks like, and it seems like you could move them, but I haven't figured out how to move them. So don't worry if what you are looking at on yours is in a different order. It doesn't matter. All right, so the availability, we did that. Has a photo. Okay, attributes. So here are some really interesting attributes to think about. Color work. If you are specifically wanting to do some different types of color work, that would be really helpful right there. Accessibility, meaning are there therapy toys, if it's an adaptive design, maybe somebody has an amputation or maybe has some scoliosis that makes their spine not straight. And so there's some things in here that can be helpful. Construction technique. All right, so this is where you get to choose things like I'm thinking she's going to want to do this as a seamless project. So, and I'm going to just kind of make up some things based on what I know about this stitcher. So she's going to do a seamless project. Let's say she wants to do this seamless and from the bottom up. We have now narrowed our choices down to 5,182. All right, I'm thinking we can get this a little bit more narrow. All right, so that's the construction technique. And let's see. We could even take this, well, we're going to just let that go right there, I think. Okay, design elements. Let's see what's in there. This is kind of interesting. I'm not going to click on that in this particular example, but you could choose, like if you were doing a skirt and you wanted it to be an A-line, or in this case, it's a sweater. If you wanted that sweater to have a collar or some kind of a neck. So a lot of times, you know, there's a lot of different things like that. All right. Empire waist facings and fringe, all kinds of just really, really neat design elements. Fabric characteristics. This is where we get into some of those textured things that that we like to do. If we wanted it to be lace, if we wanted to have cables. And in this case, I'm pretty sure she's going to want it to have cables because her question was around fisherman wool sweaters. So cables are pretty classic and standard for that. So we're going to choose that. You could also want to make sure that that had bobble or textures or other things, but we're gonna not narrow it down too tight. You can, but you don't have to. All right. Okay, pattern instructions. So now this is a nice category that they have in here for those people that only work off a chart, or they need things that have lots of photos and tutorials in them. Maybe has a supportive video tutorial, and that's really a nice feature right there. We want to make sure that this is, I'm not going to click any of these, to be quite honest. I'm not, because I'm not for this one. And we're going to not worry about the rest of those ones in this category. Gender, age, and fit. I am going to say that she's probably wanting this for an adult, but I am not going to, I'm not going to choose any of the others. All right. Now this is where we really get into what she's got going on, okay? Based on what she told us about the yarn, it's probably a bulky. It could potentially be a super bulky. So I'm going to click those two things. Now that has us narrowed down to 59 patterns. Yarn held together. We want to work in something that's for single strand, which is probably most of these. You can, if you know how much yarn you have, you can choose one of those. We're not going to not worry about that. And yardage, that meters and yardage, similar thing. Colors, the number of colors used, we're going to choose one color. We're not working with color work in this particular case. Now that's taken us down to 38. All right. You could, if you want to choose a difficulty rating, you can, but I will tell you they're not super accurate. Okay. There is no, there's no standardization for what those are. So I personally don't concern myself with that. If you have a sick designer that you want to work with, or if you want to make sure that this is specifically somebody who designs patterns for Ravelry, okay, versus the corporate ones. So we're not going to worry about that in this case. Terminology down in crochet, there's some terminology things that happen when we go from country to country. So that can be helpful. This one is very important though, right here, language. Please go in and check your preferred pattern language. In our case, it would be English. It's really frustrating when we go and we fall in love with a pattern or a project and it's in Hungarian. And unless the whole thing is simply charted, and you're really good with charts, it can be really discouraging and frustrating. So go ahead and click that. All right, so that's where we're at. You guys, look at that. Now we're down to 38 sweater patterns that are possible based on all of that criteria. And then we might look at it and we're going to just look and we're going to say, oh my goodness, well, this one, even though the sample picture is pink and gray, it's seamless and it's modified drop shoulder, and it's got some really great quality. It's got a little bit additional texture down the center front. It's got this lovely textury cable on the side, and there you go. And some extra pictures you can look at. You can pop over to that designer's website right here. It's got your yarn recommendations and let's see, what else does it have? It's got some measurement and size information right there. And then it's got this place right here where it says buy now, which allows you to buy it, download the pattern, store it in your library, store it on your computer, print it, and there you go. So that is that. And I just want to thank you for taking a few minutes to join me on this tutorial. If you haven't yet, take a moment, subscribe, hit that little bell so that way every time I add a video, you get notified. Share this video with your stitching friends if you think it would help them understand how to use Ravelry a little bit better. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to watch this. It supports me, keeps me going, and helps me to help you every day be just a little bit better at your stitching, because you're awesome. And I love that. So get out there and go make some beautiful things. If you have questions, pop on over to Facebook /Perfectly Knotty and click that join button. You can get in our VIP group where you're going to get questions like this answered and meet some friends and show off your projects and have some fun. Okay. Follow us. You can find me also on Instagram and my regular Facebook page and my website, perfectlyknotty.com. So, all the usual suspects that we do these days. So, thank you. Love you guys. Have an awesome day.